How's it going, everybody? So in this video, I'm going to be responding to a comment that I saw on a video that I did with Chad from Open Your Reality. Go check it out on YouTube if you haven't already. We talk about various aspects of health, and we were answering questions about carnivore diets and other things that people had asked us in our previous live stream. And so I'm going to be responding to a comment. This is a very long comment. This commenter, the screen name is KWHS, and they basically went ham. They left like a whole college essay, probably at least 900 words. That's more than most people want to write for their graded final exams in undergraduate school. But this person just willfully wrote a essay about basically why humans should be raw vegan or breatharian. Legitimately, this person thinks humans should be breatharian to reach their highest potential in the physical realm. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and I just feel like anyone with critical thinking skill, no matter how red pill or esoteric or against the mainstream you might be, I think it's pretty easy to see why this comment is just ridiculous, and I'm going to explain why in this video. This is an important learning experience for anyone who gets trapped into these types of just psychobabble and paradigms that don't help anyone. Now, before I even begin, I just want to say definitely go and check out Morbid Angel on tour this next year. They're going to be in Texas in March, and they're touring the United States. Greatest band of all time, especially if you are into ideas like creating your own reality and stuff like that. Their lyrics are all about basically conquering your own life, conquering your fears, and rising above the mainstream, fragile, average society. So anyway, let's begin. All right. So I'm going to speak in an accent whenever I'm reading the comment so that y'all can kind of differentiate between the person's comment and my response. All right. The ultimate diet for human beings to embody and reach their highest potential while in the physical realm is raw fruit only, and eventually transition into not needing to consume physical food at all by adapting the mind, body, and energy system to survive off the more subtle forms of energy surrounding us in infinite abundance at all times. Prana, ki, mana, source energy, etc. So this person is saying that they think the optimal diet for human beings to reach your highest potential in the physical realm is either a raw fruitarian diet that basically rots people's fucking teeth when they follow it, or breatharianism. That's what they mean when they say to derive your energy from prana, chi, etc. Okay? So first of all, there is no real verified human. There's like one example of some dude in India that supposedly was hospitalized and tested and controlled and locked up to verify that he could actually live on breath alone. But that was actually debunked. So besides that, there's no real actual verified documented cases of anyone being breatharian and living breatharian in a controlled environment. And pretty much anyone on the internet can make claims and say that they've done something, but they really haven't. Conversely, there's plenty of people who have documented. There's even a 2-year hospital metabolic ward study, and it's documented, a case report of 2 Arctic explorers, including William Here Stefansson, however you say his name, who lived on nothing but red meat alone. And there's plenty of other people now, hundreds of documented case reports of people just eating nothing but beef. and they're fine. And that's an example of someone living on a very minimalistic diet and being good. And I myself did that strictly for 1 year, and then mostly carnivore for about 2 or 3. But anyway, yes, but there's no documented cases of someone being breatharian. Not a lot of people that I know of even claim to be breatharian, and anyone who does, and then they're actually tested, they get exposed. So there's that. The whole raw fruit diet. I don't know what makes you think eating raw fruit is the best thing for the physical realm. The majority, so most people who eat a fruitarian diet in the physical realm, their physical bodies deteriorate. Bone mineral density goes down, muscle mass goes down, their teeth start to fall out of their skull. There's videos of showing these things. And there's plenty of people, including myself, who followed a raw vegan diet at one point in time, who now come out and admit, like, hey, that was the stupidest idea ever. But I think the difference is some people have an IQ over 90 and some people don't. And I feel like the people with IQ below 90, they continue to do the same ineffective things over and over again, and they expect a different result, only to find severe schizophrenia and physical deterioration eventually develops. And let me just, and there's people in the raw vegan community, a lot of them, who say the craziest things. There's one guy who lost the ability to ejaculate. And he said that ejaculation is evil spirits leaving the body, and that a clean body doesn't ejaculate. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, you sterilized yourself. And now you're justifying it with such a ridiculous rebuttal. And that's the commonality in those people, is like, so like they'll be having extreme malnourishment symptoms for years, and they justify it by saying they're just detoxing. They're like, yeah, I'm just detoxing all the meat and cellular waste that I was eating for so many years. And like 5 years later, their hair is falling out. They stop having their periods. They literally start to look like they're on like they have muscle wasting syndrome, like they're suffering from cancer or something. It's not a joke. It's disturbing. And so in such physical deterioration, you can expect the brain to be deteriorating too. Not to mention, most of these people don't believe in supplementing with B12. At least the cooked vegans supplement B12. They usually have to get injections, actually. But if there's brain deterioration, can you imagine? So they're in this paradigm where they think all the negative symptoms of malnourishment are being caused by detox, and so they can justify all of the negative symptoms of malnourishment, and it just kind of feeds into the belief system where they're like, no, raw veganism is the best way to ascend the kundalini to the spirit realm. And they're like, and they're like, I have to detox all the meat. Meat causes cellular waste, and all the freaking energetics and vibrations from the suffering, tortured animals are being embedded into my cells, and now I got to detox all the suffering. And that's why my teeth are bleeding, my teeth are falling out of my skull. That's why, I can't keep muscle mass, because all my muscle mass was built from animals, and I'm detoxing the animals. And there's people that have these disgusting green mucus crystals pouring out of their eyes. Like, if you watch these people on YouTube and their detox vlogs, like, you know what I'm talking about. And it's like, bro, like, forever detoxing. 5 years have passed. Your health is only getting worse. And the B12 deficiency doesn't help the extreme confirmation bias and cognitive dissonance. Not only are they justifying their negative symptoms by saying it's detox, but they also are malnourished, have a B12 deficiency, as well as multiple vitamins, minerals, or mostly not minerals, but vitamins and fat-soluble nutrients. and probably amino acids for neurotransmitters, so that their brain is probably damaged. It's actually not funny, but I don't know. And so it's like you get brain damage and you're kind of in a cult. So the cult mindset kind of keeps you stuck in the belief system and delusional, and then the brain damage kind of reinforces the delusion. It's a really bad thing. But I was there for, I was raw vegan for a couple of months, actually more like 6 months, and I was vegan for an entire year. So I was there, but I eventually snapped out of it when I noticed my colon was a solid shooter, and I noticed that pretty much most of the vegan staple foods were actually contributing to my psoriasis severely and my irritable bowel syndrome as well. And then when I just switched to eating only meat or a meat and fruit diet, actually, I was actually just fine. So these days I eat mostly meat though, because I feel so freaking awesome. I feel better than I've ever felt in my life eating nothing but meat. And most people find that they reverse all of their health problems and they're on cloud nine with their energy and vitality. And people who don't stay carnivore, which you don't need to, they eventually just eat mostly meat, and then they eat maybe some fruit and other things, but it's mostly meat because they notice that that's what they feel best on. And we have millions of years of evolution showing us that that's the case. But anyway, breatharianism is stupid. All right, so let's continue. So the person says, meats and cooked vegetables are void of life force, energy, and numb the mind, body, and energy system because they take a lot of time and energy to process and exit the body. Okay, meat and cooked vegetables. So cooked vegetables, maybe. Meat is not void of life force, energy, numbing the mind and body and energy system. Okay? That's a stupid comment to make. Okay? Cooked meat actually makes most of the nutrients in the meat more bioavailable, supposedly. And, well, actually, scientifically, it's been shown. And if meat was so devoid of life force energy, then how have I been able to survive on mostly meat since 2018? And how about all these other carnivore dieters who do that? And I'm not a carnivore dieter. I'm not advocating carnivore diet. But people who eat mostly meat and almost nothing else, and especially these keto dieters who eat mostly meat and cooked vegetables, how do you explain them people living on a mostly meat diet for decades? The only thing you could do is say that we're lying. Like, oh, you're lying. You had to have eaten fruit or whatever foods you think are life force energy. So stupid. And yeah, actually my mind feels sharper than it's ever felt ever. So I don't know how you could say it numbs the mind. I felt pretty damn numb when I ate mostly fruit. I felt bad. My teeth were all sore. I always felt like hypoglycemic. It was terrible. And saying that meat takes a lot, or meat and cooked vegetables take a long time to process and exit the body, is a fundamental misunderstanding of how physiology even works. So when you eat cooked meat, as long as you have a healthy stomach acid, human beings have the stomach acid of scavenger animals, about 1.5 or less. And basically, meat is almost entirely digested by stomach acid and pepsin in the stomach, and it's turned to chyme. It's turned to liquid. Cooked vegetables are mostly undigested after you chew them. They stay in that state and then they pass the stomach undigested, and then they enter the intestine where they're fermented by bacteria. But most cooked vegetables are just fiber. And for me, I think they pass within a day. But meat is almost entirely absorbed and implemented into the body without having any indigestible excretion. So to even talk about exiting the body, look, you're eating food to nourish yourself. You're not eating food to exit the body. So like if your food is exiting the body, like most super fibrous plant foods, then it doesn't sound like you're actually eating food. It sounds like you're eating indigestible stuff that isn't being turned into body tissue. And that would explain why a lot of these raw vegans look like they're cancer patients, because the food that they're eating is mostly fiber, water, and glucose or fructose and sucrose and other starches and various forms of carbohydrates, galactose. Let's see. Here we go with the other bullshit. Carnivore animals have much shorter digestive systems than humans. Herbivore, veg-eater animals have much longer digestive systems than humans. Frugivores, animals like monkeys, apes, and chimpanzees have the closest digestive system to ours. Okay, so you're telling me freaking frugivores who have like a stomach pH of something like 4 they have a digestive system that's similar to humans that have a pH of something like 1.5. If you look up the digestive system of a wolf or a hyena, you'll probably find that we have a lot more in common with wolves and hyenas than we do freaking chimpanzees. So the other thing, I mean, there's a lot of things to say about it. So look, if you really want to know the truth, look up the expensive gut hypothesis. Is that what it is? The expensive gut hypothesis? Basically, our guts actually shrank over the millions of years that we started to eat meat in exchange for a bigger and more powerful brain. Yeah, I think it's called the expensive gut hypothesis. The expensive tissue hypothesis. And yeah, so Dr. Michael Eads has a really awesome talk on this called Paleoanthropology and the Origins of the Paleo Diet. Yeah, so that is something that somebody says when they haven't been studying evolution in the human digestive system for long enough to really have a clue. One more thing, the person was basically trying to say that we should be breatharian. Like, good luck with being breatharian, man. All right, so let's see. The reason people feel good for a while when they eat a carnivore diet is because the meat being consumed is supplementing a lot of the animal hormones that it holds after slaughter into the human body and brain. Similar effect to being on some kind of drug or performance enhancer like a weak steroid. Okay, look, that is such a ridiculous thing to say, and it's disturbing to me that enough human beings are mentally declined to actually buy into such nonsense. This sounds like something someone would say who's not giving their brain enough essential nutrients to fully understand what meat is actually doing and why people feel good on it. I mean, I don't know. We're just giving our body the majority of physical tissue that it's made of, amino acids and protein. So the neurotransmitters, your endogenous antioxidant system, all the enzymes that, run your metabolism, obviously your muscle tissues, your connective tissue, and your knees and your joints. All of that is built from amino acids. And I have many videos discussing the science of protein and what happens when you double someone's protein intake who's sedentary and doesn't even do weight training, who are already eating 60 grams of protein a day, and you double it to 120. After 6 weeks, these people, without even lifting weights, actually add a substantial amount of muscle mass by just giving them double the protein. The reason why people feel so good on mostly animal foods has nothing to do with the supposed performance enhancing steroids or adrenaline or whatever that you're claiming the animals are giving humans when they eat them. The reason people feel good when they eat animal foods is because it's full of vital nutrition that fueled our evolution, and it's literally giving us the building blocks to our brain, to our neurotransmitters, to our energy and our vitality. The other thing is, on an animal-based diet, for me at least, as long as it was ketogenic, my chronic mental issues and anxiety issues completely went away. My ability to fall asleep, my mental clarity and calmness all improved dramatically. And this is actually said to be due to the glycine, the effects on glycine and NMDA receptors, and is also a mechanism to explain why humans that have epilepsy and seizure disorders and other neurological diseases typically see complete resolution, including schizophrenia, on ketogenic diets. There are hundreds of people who have done YouTube interviews, who have and they've done blog posts with documented case reports from doctors, showing complete remission of their chronic mental illnesses on mostly meat diets, much of them carnivore. So I'm just wondering how the adrenaline and cortisol and other hormones that you think meat contains is being transferred into humans with all of these things considered, and a much more plausible mechanism as to why people feel good, because they're just eating the diet that they're meant to eat. And now the question really is, because I've heard this before, can you please link me a study or some kind of decent evidence that consuming meat from like these like slaughtered animals or whatever are transferring performance enhancing adrenaline or whatever hormones you think they're transferring? Where is your evidence for that? That's a crazy claim. The body, the digestive system usually, first of all, the meat being dead for a while, most of these hormones are broken down already. And then, of course, when you consume, also, where are these hormones? Most hormones in meat in general is excreted into the milk. That's why things like, I made videos about this before. I don't really want to go too deep into it, but most hormones that are being fed to animals are excreted in the milk. But when organisms are freaking out or they're whatever in severe trauma, they don't release hormones into their muscles. And when you eat meat or their fat, you know how long it takes for an animal to store something in their fat or in their muscle tissue? There's what mechanism? Can you send me some mechanistic evidence, some science that shows at least a mechanism? Like when I'm scared and I'm like, oh my God, like I'll release adrenaline, but that adrenaline doesn't go into my muscle tissue and my fat tissue. So it's mostly released in the bloodstream, the nervous system, the brain. It's acting on certain receptor sites. It's not being like stored in muscle. It doesn't happen. So when you eat meat, there's no evidence that or mechanism as to how you could be like transferring these hormones. So yeah, I mean, the reason why meat makes people feel good is because you're giving it the vital nutrition that's the building blocks to all of your cells, your brain, etc. So yeah, it's kind of funny. But okay, meat's a weak steroid, okay. Says a person who thinks we should eat breathatarian. The fuck, man. Also, eating meat and cooked vegetables causes a buildup of acid and mucus in the body, which, depending on the age, stops to a large degree the body's natural healing and purification processes. Okay, so that is definitely false. Eating meat and cooked vegetables does not build up acidity in the body. I made videos specifically debunking this. You can look up my channel name and then Dr. Sebi, and it should bring up the video. But basically, acid in the body, that doesn't make sense. There's certain parts of the body that can be more acidic or less. For example, our stomach acid is as acidic as the stomach acid of most scavenger animals. So the stomach needs to be acidic for humans to be healthy, so we can digest meat, which is, what we evolved to mostly consume. Secondarily, our blood needs to be slightly alkaline, maybe neutral. And that's usually what these fools are talking about when they say the body needs to be alkaline. They're talking about a buildup of acid in the blood. Well, acid doesn't actually build up in the blood because our kidneys filter it out. And whatever acidity actually is created is a product of the kidneys filtering into the urine. And usually the pH value can stay in the healthy range due to alkaline minerals kind of like filtering out the process. If you're scared of having acidic blood, what you can do is consume more calcium from either bone meal. Yeah, humans can actually digest bone meal. Imagine that. But no, we're frugivores and breatharians, y'all. Or some kind of calcium, because that calcium is a highly alkaline mineral that can be used to buffer acidity. But that's just, and the other thing is acidosis in the blood is not something that you can just live with. If you have a buildup of acid in the blood, you get something known as metabolic acidosis that will kill you really fast if you don't go and seek immediate emergency medical attention. You don't have time to build up acid and mucus in your blood. Is it endometriosis? There's a disorder for mucus building up in the body. And again, it's a severe medical condition that you need to be hooked up to an oxygen tank eventually. These ideas of mucus building up in the body or acid building up in the blood, these people have obviously never studied pathology or pathophysiology or basic human physiology, let alone medicine. They haven't been in communities of people who are suffering from illnesses who have gotten better. And raw veganism actually can heal certain diseases, but it's not because of acid and these other things people say. It has more to do with the long-term depletion of polyunsaturated omega-6 fats in the cells, in the tissues, as well as autophagy, because you're literally starving yourself. The body starts to burn off all of its polyunsaturated omega-6s, which can definitely cause a reversal of cancer. A lot of these communities will see. Dr. Sebi, okay, that's one thing he didn't really know about. These people claim it's mucus and acid that reverses diseases. It's actually the autophagy in your body eating up all of its polyunsaturated omega-6 fats. So a fruitarian diet can heal, but it's not because you're removing meat. It's because you're removing the PUFA, polyunsaturated omega-6 fats, and the autophagy, which will turn over the cancer cells and reverse reactive oxygen damage, which is a primary contributor to heart disease as well. So I'm just saying. But I mean, if you really want to believe it's a buildup of acid, that's cool. Just look up metabolic acidosis and look up excess mucus disorders. Let's see. So yeah, I mean that is a stupid thing to say. It's absolutely incorrect. It can be verifiably proven false. Okay, mucus doesn't just build up in the body and then you don't have any severe signs. The severe signs are easily diagnosed by a medical doctor, as people are diagnosed really fast within the first couple of years of their life, and they usually almost die. Okay, if they have this mucus lingering in their body. So, yeah. When the mind and body is purifying and healing physical or mental pains, aches, and diseases, you will be forced to experience and feel the pain of these wounds while the healing takes place until the healing is complete. On the meat and cooked food diet, You will stop feeling many acute symptoms of aches, pains, diseases, and emotional damage because your mind and body have stopped even trying to feel them because it is too busy focusing on processing and detoxing you of the toxifying food you've been consuming every day. For example, if you damage your shoulder playing some kind of sport 7 years ago in your 20s, and you have been eating meat, dairy, and cooked vegetables every day up until this point, you may not really feel the pain of the shoulder anymore, and the shoulder injury may be partially healed, but it's not fully healed. You no longer feel pain in your shoulder because you have been numbing it and causing extra work for your body to deal with every day with your diet. Now, if today you were, God forbid, to switch to a fully raw fruit diet for 2 weeks with some fasting, intermittent fasting thrown in there as well, after a few days of this diet, among other things, you'll start to feel some pain in the shoulder again because the body is finally ready and has begun to heal this 7-year-old injury. When you're feeling an old wound with the diet change or a fast, it is going into an acute state where you are feeling and healing the wound. Oh my God, and they just keep going off. Okay. You will be forced to face, process, heal, and let go of your demons when you eat a raw fruit and breatharian diet. Okay, so let's break this down. Okay. This person is literally admitting when people go on a diet of mostly meat, of cooked meat, that all of their symptoms of pains and illness and sickness will go away. And then they have to justify the resolution of people's symptoms. Because this person sounds like they've seen all of the carnivore dieters who stopped eating vegetables and plant foods, and particularly grains in my case, and suddenly just eat mostly meat, and now all of a sudden all of their health problems goes away. And this person legitimately is trying to say it's the spiritual karma and all the meat toxins, the mucus and the acid in your blood detoxifying. That's why you feel the old pains coming up. They're actually saying that the body has been trying to detox you for so long eating meat that's why you feel pain when you remove meat. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so first of all, here's the first problem with that argument. A lot of people that go on these carnivore diets and they have chronic pain, chronic arthritis, and fibromyalgia. So most of them were on plant-based diets, or they're on American diets, or they are raw vegan. That's true. However, thousands of them were on paleo diets that were mostly meat. They're eating 2 pounds of meat a day, but they are also eating paleo-approved fruits, vegetables, and in some cases nuts and seeds. And sometimes they're eating grains too, but they were already eating meat. And so these people a lot of them were already eating large amounts of meat, and they're having these chronic pains and stuff, but then they remove the plant foods and only eat meat, so they're still eating the same amount of meat. Nothing changed. They're not eating more meat for their body to detoxify somehow. They're just removing the plant foods, and suddenly their aches and pains go away. And then when they add the plant foods back, their aches and pains come back. And so the thing is, in reality, these people are having an abnormal immune response to certain plant foods. It's not, and by the way, I'm not a carnivore zealot or anything that says plant foods kill you or something. But there is obviously a lot of people who have autoimmune illnesses that for whatever reason are being triggered by certain plant foods in their diet. And so it's not whether you add meat or remove meat. That's that's what you'll focus on if you're a raw vegan, or if you're a vegan who thinks meat is the sum of all ills and the devil. But when you actually have been vegan like I was, and then you switch, you find that a mostly meat diet actually is a solution for you, and veganism wasn't the solution it was promised to be. You find that it's the plant foods that were hurting you for some reason, and you don't know why. So yeah, so that's the first thing, is like, it has nothing to do with detoxifying. The reason why this person is basically saying, is inferring that it's a common thing for when people go raw vegan, they start getting aches and pains, and when they go fasting, they get aches and pains. So pain science, look up the biopsychosocial model of pain, first of all. Basically, most pain is caused by a lack of work capacity for that muscle group, or exercising too hard for your current ability. And so if you're getting aches and pains when you switch to a raw vegan diet, it's because your body tissues, for whatever reason, are not able to adapt and recover from whatever exercise you're doing because of some kind of nutritional factor that you changed. And in this case, it's probably because they're malnourished. You know, I mean, have you seen these transformations these raw vegans make? They go from being either decently muscled and looking healthy, or overweight, to suddenly, a couple years down the road, looking like they were in a concentration camp or something. Just terribly malnourished, and it's really sad. And that can obviously cause, shoulder pains and stuff to come up. But when you eat a meat-based diet, and you're giving your body the amino acids it needs to create collagen for your connective tissue, things like proline and why is my brain just whatever? It starts with a G. Glycine. Then basically you're giving your body what it needs to build healthy connective tissue, and those pains can go away. But people often find it's a reaction to some kind of alkaloid or polyphenol in plant foods that seem to be triggering their pains. So, I mean, it's like, it's individual, but clearly it's not a detox thing. It's funny how extreme this is. Like, it's all detox and the spiritual kundalini and mucus and blood and all this crazy shit. It's like, no, it's really not. But let's continue. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know how to train and exercise properly. They instead of a 6 to an 8 out of 10 when people lift, they just do like 10 out of 10. They go to failure all the time, and therefore they get overuse injuries. So it's a combination of diet and not knowing how to train properly. Let's see. Let's get back to where we were on this. Okay. Now extrapolate. Okay, here we go. This is hilarious. Now extrapolate this example into any injury, trauma, or pain you are carrying around with you, emotional and physical. When you fast or go on a fully raw fruit diet, you will be confronted with ancient, buried, and suppressed traumas, injuries, and wounds. Ancient? What the hell do you mean ancient traumas? Ancient buried traumas. Like we're digging up some kind of mummified remains of our ancient ancestors by going on a raw fruit diet. You hear the craziness? Like, does this sound like a mentally healthy person to you? Doesn't, at the very least, these are not rational arguments that are being made. But if you've only done the raw vegan stuff and you've never tried a meat-based diet, it's very easy to kind of, I don't know, man. I just feel like if you had a high enough IQ, you should be able, at the very least, you could word this a little bit more rationally. Let's just put it that way. Like, where's your evidence? How can you measure this crap? Most of these things this person's saying, there's no way to actually quantify it. There's no testing you can do for acid, blood, and well, actually there is. Actually there is, but these people don't do the test. Okay, again, acid blood, you die. Okay, people don't show up in the ER eating meat and have acid blood. That's actually a normal thing that doctors test every time you enter the hospital. Every time you enter the hospital, you get your pH level tested. Why are these people, like, what the hell, man? This is hilarious. Anyway, yeah, ancient traumas, that's hilarious. Yeah, you be confronted with the ancient, buried, suppressed traumas. You be forced to face, feel, process, heal, and let go of your demons. Many people don't realize this is why they don't feel good when they're fasting or eating a raw fruit diet. And many will give up during these times of intense healing and detox, which is usually too early for a great amount of healing to take place. Many will turn back to their old ways, to the numbing, comforting, intoxifying meat and cooked vegetables diet. Okay, look, person, most people do not find it comforting to eat an only meat diet. Now, cooked vegetables, I don't know. I actually enjoy eating cooked vegetables, to be honest. But most people find eating fruit and sweet foods and processed foods and rice and stuff comforting. Most people don't find eating just meat comforting until after they really can basically go through the withdrawals of like the junk food and the sweet foods and stuff. Anyway, yeah, that's just a hilarious thing to say. This person's acting like a culty, like they're part of a cult. Like, these are things cult leaders say. Like, I feel like I'm in church. You gotta fight through the pain and deal with the traumas. Like, it's really not that hard. Like, nutrition isn't that hard. It's not this extreme, man. Just eat the diet that your species has evolved to eat. All of your pains will go away. And there doesn't need to be this, like, extreme justification and explanation for why your raw fruit diet hurts you. It's not this extreme, man. It's just eating a species-appropriate diet. Have you ever stopped and thought that maybe the reason why you hurt so bad when you're on the raw fruit diet is because it's not what humans are, it's not healthy? Oh my God, this is hilarious. This is shadow work. And raw fruit diet, fasting, meditation, and yoga and breathing practices are great tools to use for shadow work. Okay, look, if you actually meditate, I mean, most people don't even know what meditation is, but I agree that meditation, yoga, and breathing practices are great for awareness, getting in touch with your consciousness. And I guess if you want to call it shadow work, but I don't like that term. I think a lot of people are just in pain and traumatized. And when they use words like shadow work, to me it indicates just a negative light that they're like, I gotta detoxify my emotions and constantly relive my traumas. And it's like, for me, I see breathing. I do meditation, qigong, Tai Chi, well, mostly Qigong these days, actually, and breathing practices, and I do traditional Shaolin forms. And I don't see it as shadow work. I see it as getting in touch with the God energy, getting in touch with the moment and presence and flow, and training my mind to be untrained, if that makes sense. Untraining my mind, actually. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Meditation is untraining the mind. It's training the mind to be trained and untrained at the same time. All right, anyway. This is hilarious. We don't need physical food to survive, smart guy. We don't need physical food to survive. You listen here, bub. I'm the random stranger anonymously on the internet with a random throwaway name, no avatar, no videos, writing a 900-word essay about the facts, y'all. Freaking raw fruit diet. We don't need physical food to survive. Okay, can you tell me one species of what is the purpose of even living? To survive? What if it wasn't for modern society, do you realize how hard it would be to eat a raw fruit diet? What is the number one reason that animals die in the wild? The seeking of food. Literally, this breatharian and raw fruit thing is a construct that was created by civilization. It's not something that ancient hunter-gatherers and stuff were just like, no, they died for their food. That's natural selection, and it's why we're where we're at today. It's why we used our minds and our brains, stone tools and things like that, and to develop sophisticated ways of hunting that you could still see isolated humans doing today. We use animals like, those carnivorous animals humans are friends with, cats and dogs, to help us catch animals to eat. Have you ever stopped and wondered why humans are only friends with carnivorous animals like cats and dogs, and we don't keep herbivorous or frugivore animals like as pets? Yeah, there's a reason, but all species, including humans, live and die in order to obtain food for nourishment. This idea of breatharianism is just so hilarious. Let's see. This is coming from someone who trained with the 34th generation disciple from the Shaolin Temple, like in the actual Shaolin Temple, not the Mongolian martial arts Shaolin Do. Okay? I practice real fucking meditation. Not this, and mindfulness practices and breathing and things. Never practiced breatharianism and stuff. That's not... Well, anyway. Let's see. Even as a baby at birth, we do not need physical food to survive. In a perfect world, a newborn baby would naturally tap into the omnipresent life force energy field that we are all connected to for nourishment, and the mother, father, and close community of a newborn baby will be transferring prana and other forms of emotional energy to the baby and vice versa. A baby does not cry for the mother's milk. It cries for attention, love, and the nourishing spiritual energy of its mother. Okay, I am hoping you're not a freaking parent. This person's, if they have a freaking child, which I wouldn't be surprised if they're like a 16-year-old schizophrenic person living in their mom's basement, considering they wrote me a 900-page essay about how humans don't need food to survive. And they're saying babies don't need food. Okay? How many raw vegans have we seen on the news who are sent to prison for killing their baby with a malnourishing diet? Okay? Trying to force feed their baby like some extreme vegan diet. That is really crazy. This person is not... I think they need to get what's the word? They need to get screened by a mental health professional immediately and not have children until they do. If judging from the sounds of what they're eating, I doubt their hormone profile is robust enough to even have children in the first place. But that is very disturbing, man. Babies don't need food to survive. These are the types of people that will write you a 900-page essay from an anonymous account on a video discussing real science, telling you why you should be raw vegan and breatharian. This video had nothing to do with raw. It's insane. And they're like, yeah, babies don't need food to survive. That is so disturbing. You're telling me that you're gonna have a baby and not feed it food. Wow. In comes a SWAT. Oh my God! Like, I would not be surprised if this person gets. This person's gonna severely hurt someone. Like, they're gonna have a very. Their child is gonna have a very hard time in life. This is really sad. Okay. Because of our distorted false matrix reality, many of us from birth have been programmed to associate the nourishing, loving energy we would get from our mothers during breastfeeding with physical food. No, you crazy fuck. Do you realize the only reason why mothers even have breast milk is because their babies are entirely reliant upon the nutrients that it gives us? We have identified the psychological or the physiological mechanisms of the fatty acids found in mother's milk, identified the amino acids from the protein, the growth factors, the immune boosting immunoglobulins and colostrum and things like that. We know that mother's milk has has most of the nutrients humans need that are extremely nourishing for a newborn baby. It so much so that we even have baby formulas that are formulated artificially from the formulation that we found scientifically analyzing mother's milk. And that shit's not really good for you, I don't believe, but at least it works enough to not kill babies. And yet you're trying to say that we've been bamboozled into thinking mother's milk is nourishing for babies, when in reality, babies are breatharian and feed off their mother's prana. No, you're schizophrenic. You need to seek help. Let's see. We do not... Oh, wait, where was I? There we go. We need energy to survive, and energy is an infinite abundance in many forms. We do not need physical food to survive. We have adapted to produce and to be able to consume physical food on a daily basis. But it's gotten out of hand. Now we have physical, mental, and energetic diseases and distortions infesting our world on too large a scale to sustain for much longer. Yeah, most of these diseases, if you want to know the root cause, you should read the book Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Dr. Weston Price. Or the easier version for your low IQ self to be able to comprehend, Nourishing Diets by Sally Fullen, that uses Weston Price's research. That would be a good read for you. And yeah, it basically debunks all of this. One of the biggest One of the biggest psyops that has been perpetrated upon us as a collective, or a psyop that we have played upon ourselves, is a belief that we need physical food to survive and thrive, let alone the most detoxifying and numbing foods available to us. Indeed, we have fallen, but times keep on changing in the future, and our rise is inevitable. Look, the only rise that you're going to have is a rise to the heavens with a really quick death if you choose to be breatharian. I really hope that you see a psychiatrist fast, or a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. Psychiatrists get you on meds. And I hope you don't have babies and procreate. This is a very irrational thing that was said. And then it's funny because someone commented, "Thanks for the short version." Someone else, Love Starseed, said this. Oh my God. Someone else, Steve Harper, said, "Love this post," and then just going on about John Rose and other just crazy schizophrenic raw vegans. Yeah, so look, I'd highly recommend you all to actually verify the information that you believe in is correct, at least when it pertains to things like raw veganism, breatharianism, blood pH, stomach acid, the acidity idea. the mucoid plaque nonsense, the idea that meat rots in your intestine, all of this crap. So if you have any specific questions on this, or you have an argument to be made towards me here, let me know. But look, how the hell? So look, that is a clear red flag in someone's psychology, to leave a 900-word essay on a video that's not even related to it, explaining that we need to be breatharian, raw vegan, and babies don't need food to survive, and basically mother's milk is just coincidentally producing around the time of a newborn baby. That clearly screams schizophrenia to me, but I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know down below what y'all think, and I'll talk to y'all next time.